I am Jarvis, your storyteller. Welcome to the Science Fiction Exploration. If you like the story, please subscribe to our channel.
Admiral James Harrison stood at the observation deck of Luna Base Alpha, his weathered face reflecting off the reinforced glass as he watched Earth gleam like a jewel in the darkness of space. 30 years of preparation had led to this moment. The quantum sensors had detected what everyone feared: the Kraxan Empire's invasion fleet was approaching the Sol system. "Admiral, the TSS Nemesis is ready for launch," announced Captain Victoria Reed through the comm system. Her voice carried the weight of someone who understood the gravity of what was to come. Harrison turned away from the viewport, his steel-gray eyes focusing on the holographic display showing humanity's greatest achievement. The TSS Nemesis wasn't just a warship, it was humanity's declaration that they would not go quietly into the night. "Begin launch sequence," Harrison commanded, making his way to the command center. The massive underground hangar that had housed the Nemesis for the past decade hummed with activity. Technical crews scrambled to complete final checks while combat personnel boarded through multiple access points. Commander Zenith Wong, the ship's tactical officer, met Harrison at the main airlock. "All weapon systems are green, Admiral. The quantum drive is spinning up to full capacity, and our stealth systems are operating at peak efficiency." The Nemesis represented everything humanity had learned since discovering the ruins of an ancient alien outpost on Mars 15 years ago. While the rest of the galaxy thought humans were still struggling with basic space flight, they had been reverse engineering advanced technology and improving upon it in ways even its original creators hadn't imagined. "Status report on the Kraxan fleet?" Harrison asked as they made their way to the bridge. The ship's interior was a marvel of engineering, with adaptive gravity systems and neural-linked control interfaces that responded to thought as much as touch. "Their main fleet will reach Jupiter's orbit in approximately 72 hours, Wong reported, pulling up tactical displays as they walked. 17 capital ships, 43 cruisers, and over 200 support vessels. They're not trying to hide their approach. Why would they?" Harrison replied grimly. "As far as they know, we're defenseless." The bridge of the Nemesis was a testament to human ingenuity. Unlike the biological interfaces favored by many alien species, humans had created a hybrid system that combined advanced AI assistance with human intuition and creativity. Captain Reed stood at the central command station, her dark skin contrasting with the white of her uniform as she coordinated final launch preparations. "Admiral on deck," someone called out, and the bridge crew snapped to attention. "As you were," Harrison said, taking his position at the tactical overview station. "Captain Reed, status?" "All systems are operational, crew is at battle stations, and our quantum core is at full power," Reed reported crisply. "We're ready to show the galaxy what humanity is capable of." Harrison nodded, allowing himself a moment to take in the scene. The Nemesis was nearly 5 kilometers long, with a crew of 10,000. Its revolutionary quantum drive could cross light years in days, its weapons could tear apart capital ships with ease, and its defensive systems could withstand firepower that would vaporize lesser vessels. "Begin launch sequence," Harrison ordered. "Activate stealth systems as soon as we clear the hangar." The massive hangar doors above began to part, revealing the star-filled sky. The Nemesis's engines hummed to life, a deep resonance that spoke of barely contained power. As the ship rose from its cradle, Harrison thought about the journey that had brought them here. The first signs of the Kraxan Empire had come through decoded transmissions 3 decades ago. While the public remained unaware, Earth's governments had united in secret, pooling resources and brilliant minds to prepare for this day. The discovery of the Mars outpost had accelerated their progress exponentially, but it was human innovation that had transformed that ancient technology into something new. "Clearing lunar orbit," Reed announced. "Stealth systems engaged. We're invisible to all known detection methods." Harrison watched the tactical display as the Nemesis slipped away from Earth like a ghost. The Kraxan fleet was still days away, giving them time to prepare their surprise. Unlike other species that relied on brute force or biological technology, humans had created something unique, a perfect fusion of multiple technological approaches, adapted to human psychology and enhanced by human creativity. Plot a course to intercept the Kraxan fleet at Saturn's orbit, Harrison commanded. We'll let them think they're about to find an easy conquest. Instead, they'll learn why humanity has survived every challenge we've ever faced. The Nemesis accelerated silently through space, its quantum drive leaving no trace of its passage. On board, the crew continued their preparations, checking weapons, running simulations, and fine-tuning systems. They carried with them humanity's hopes, dreams, and determination to survive. Message from Earth Command, Wong announced. Other facilities are beginning to activate. The Nemesis isn't our only surprise for the Kraxan Empire. Harrison smiled grimly. The Nemesis was just the tip of the spear. Across the solar system, hidden shipyards were coming online, automated defense platforms were powering up, and other secret weapons were preparing for deployment. Humanity had spent 30 years preparing for this moment, and they intended to make it count. Send word to all commands, Harrison ordered. Operation Awakening is now active. Let's show the galaxy that humanity isn't just another primitive species to be conquered. We're something they've never seen before. As the Nemesis glided through the darkness of space, its crew prepared for the battle that would change the galaxy forever. Humanity's time of hiding was over. The Age of Revelation was about to begin. The rings of Saturn glittered like diamonds scattered across black velvet as the TSS Nemesis waited in position, its stealth systems rendering it invisible to the approaching Kraxan fleet. In the ship's Strategic Command Center, Admiral Harrison studied the holographic display showing the enemy's approach vector. Tactical analysis complete, Commander Wong reported, his fingers dancing across the neural interface. The Kraxan fleet's configuration suggests they're expecting zero resistance. Their shields are at minimal power, and their weapons are in standby mode. Captain Reed's voice came through the comm system from the bridge. Their arrogance will be their undoing. All combat teams report ready, Admiral. The Quantum Lance is charged and targeting solutions are locked. The Kraxan fleet was impressive, their massive ships were biological mechanical hybrids, looking almost like metal sea creatures swimming through space. Their flagship, nearly twice the size of the others, led the formation with the confidence of an apex predator that had never known defeat. Incoming transmission, Lieutenant Marcus Thorne announced from communications. They're broadcasting their demands for surrender to Earth on all frequencies. Standard Kraxan protocol, submit or be destroyed. Harrison's lips curved into a tight smile. Let's introduce ourselves, shall we? Captain Reed, execute attack pattern Theta. Commander Wong, prepare to fire the Quantum Lance on my mark. The Nemesis's engines flared to life, its stealth field dropping as it emerged from behind one of Saturn's smaller moons. The sudden appearance of a massive warship sent the Kraxan fleet into momentary chaos, their tight formation breaking apart as ships scrambled to raise shields and power weapons. Enemy vessels attempting to establish battle formation, Wong reported. Their energy signatures are spiking, they're preparing to fire. Not fast enough, Harrison said coldly. Fire Quantum Lance, primary target their flagship. All other batteries, target their support vessels. Show them what humanity is capable of. The Quantum Lance, humanity's greatest technological achievement, activated. A beam of pure white energy, wrapped in spiraling ribbons of blue quantum particles, lashed out across space. It struck the Kraxan flagship before its shields could reach full power, the advanced weapon literally tearing apart the bonds holding matter together. The massive alien vessel didn't explode, it disintegrated, coming apart like sand scattered in a cosmic wind. The display of power froze the remaining Kraxan ships in place, their commanders likely struggling to comprehend what they were witnessing. Multiple enemy vessels powering up jump drives, Wong called out. They're attempting to retreat. Not today, Harrison responded. Deploy the quantum anchors. No one leaves to warn the others. Dozens of small devices launched from the Nemesis, creating a web of quantum interference that prevented faster-than-light travel. The Kraxan fleet was trapped, forced to face an enemy they had grievously underestimated. Incoming transmission from one of their cruisers, Thorne announced. They're requesting parley. Harrison straightened his uniform. Put them through to the main display. Let's have a chat with our would-be conquerors. You have 48 hours, Blackwood stated. The aliens are accelerating their harvest. Major population centers in Asia have gone dark, no communications, no independent thought patterns. Just silence. Rivera wanted to argue that it wasn't enough time, that they needed more testing, more safeguards. But he could see in Blackwood's eyes that time was a luxury they no longer had. There's something else you should know, Admiral, he said quietly. The resistant subjects. They're not just fighting back. They're starting to see things. Fragments of alien memories, glimpses of their true purpose. This isn't just about harvesting consciousness. They're running from something that terrifies them enough to risk everything on this desperate plan. Blackwood's hologram flickered as she processed this information. Can you access these memories? Find out what they're running from? Not without putting the subjects at extreme risk. The alien memories are like viruses, they infect human consciousness, change it. Some of our volunteers. Rivera trailed off, unable to describe the horror of watching brilliant minds fracture under the weight of alien knowledge. Keep working on the disruption plan, Blackwood ordered. But I want a separate team diving into these alien memories. If we're going to fight them, we need to understand them. And Dr. Rivera? Her hologram fixed him with an intense stare. Whatever they're running from, make sure we're ready for that too. As the holograms faded, Rivera turned back to his displays, mind racing with possibilities and dangers. They were about to attempt something unprecedented, turning the entire planet into a weapon against entities that existed partly in quantum space. The chances of success were minimal. The consequences of failure were unthinkable. But as he watched another simulation begin, Rivera smiled grimly. The aliens had made one crucial mistake. They had assumed that human consciousness was a resource to be harvested, never considering that it might be a weapon waiting to be unleashed. In 48 hours, they would learn just how dangerous human minds could be when pushed to the brink of extinction. Captain Zara Patel stood in the converted bunker beneath the Himalayas, surrounded by what remained of humanity's greatest minds. The cavernous space hummed with the energy of quantum computers and makeshift consciousness amplifiers, the air thick with tension and possibility. The magnetic field modulation is at 60% capacity, she reported into her quantum-encrypted communicator. Dr. Rivera's calculations were right, the mountains are amplifying the effect naturally. On her neural display, she watched as green dots representing resistant humans multiplied across the global map. Excellent work, Captain, Admiral Blackwood's voice crackled through the secure channel. How are the test subjects responding? Zara turned toward the meditation chamber where 100 volunteers sat in deep concentration, their minds generating the chaotic patterns needed to disrupt the alien network. Neural monitors above each participant displayed their brain activity in swirling colors. Better than expected. The Buddhist monks have been invaluable, their trained minds can maintain the chaos patterns twice as long as our other subjects. She paused, watching as one of the monitors shifted to a deep purple. But we're seeing something new. The more we disrupt the alien network, the more information bleeds through. In the center of the chamber, an elderly monk named Tenzin had become their most effective weapon. His lifetime of meditation practice allowed him to navigate the quantum space between human and alien consciousness like a master sailor through storm-tossed seas. Now he sat perfectly still, his neural pattern a brilliant supernova of activity. Admiral, Zara said quietly, Tenzin is seeing something. Something big. The monk's eyes snapped open, his pupils dilated to pinpoints. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of revelation. They call it the Void Cascade, he whispered. A wave of nothingness, consuming consciousness itself. The crystalline ones fled their home galaxy as it approached, searching for new minds to bolster their defenses. Zara felt her blood run cold. Admiral, are you getting this? Every word, Blackwood replied. Dr. Rivera suspected something like this. The aliens aren't just harvesting us, they're trying to build a consciousness barrier against this void cascade. But why not just ask for our help? Zara demanded, frustration evident in her voice. Why attempt to forcibly harvest human minds? A new voice joined the conversation, Dr. Rivera, speaking from his facility in Geneva. Because they don't see us as equals, Captain. To them, we're raw materials, nothing more. Their civilization is millions of years old. They view us the way we might view bacterial colonies, useful resources to be cultivated and harvested. Tenzin's voice rose again, stronger now. They underestimated us. The chaos in human minds, our creativity, our contradictions, our capacity for both love and violence, it terrifies them. They cannot comprehend how we function with such disorder in our thoughts. Zara watched as more neural monitors shifted to purple, then deep blue. The volunteers were pushing deeper into the alien network, their chaotic thought patterns creating expanding ripples of disruption. But with each success came risk. Several subjects had already been lost, their minds burned out by contact with alien consciousness. We're ready to initiate Phase 2, she announced, pushing aside her concern for the volunteers. They had all known the risks. The quantum fusion reactors are synchronized. We can begin the global magnetic field modulation on your command. Wait, Dr. Rivera interrupted. There's something else in these readings. The void cascade, it's not just consuming consciousness. It's evolving it. The aliens fled because they couldn't adapt, couldn't embrace chaos. But humans. We thrive on chaos, Zara finished, sudden understanding dawning. Our entire history is adapting to the impossible, surviving the unsurvivable. Admiral Blackwood was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of command. Captain Patel, you have new orders. Instead of simply disrupting the alien network, we're going to hijack it. Dr. Rivera, reconfigure the magnetic field modulators. We're not going to fight the void cascade, we're going to use it. Admiral? Zara questioned, even as she began implementing the new commands. What exactly are we using it for? Evolution, Captain. Forced consciousness evolution on a species-wide scale. The aliens ran from the void cascade because they couldn't change. We're going to embrace it, use it to transform human consciousness itself. Tenzin smiled, his expression serene despite the chaos swirling through his mind. Yes, he said simply. This is the way. Not resistance, but transcendence. Zara felt a shiver run down her spine as she initiated the new protocols. They were about to attempt something unprecedented, not just fighting back against the alien harvest, but using their own fear against them. The crystalline ship still hung in Earth's sky, still pulled at human minds with their quantum tendrils, but now humanity had a plan that went beyond mere survival. As the magnetic field modulators powered up to full capacity, as the minds of millions of humans began to synchronize in carefully controlled chaos, Zara Patel allowed herself a moment of hope. The aliens had come to harvest human consciousness, never imagining that they might instead catalyze its evolution. In their arrogance, they had handed humanity the keys to its own transcendence. The real question was, what would humanity become once they turned the key? Chief scientist Viktor Petrov had always believed that understanding consciousness was the key to understanding the universe. Now, standing in the heart of the Siberian Quantum Research Facility, he watched as humanity prepared to test that theory on an unprecedented scale. Global synchronization at 87%, his AI assistant reported, its holographic form casting blue light across the frost-covered windows. Outside, the aurora borealis danced with unusual intensity, responding to the massive electromagnetic disturbances they were pumping into Earth's magnetic field. "Admiral Blackwood, we're ready to initiate the counter-protocol," Victor announced, his Russian accent thickening with tension. The facility's quantum processors hummed louder, drawing power from fusion reactors buried deep beneath the permafrost. "Proceed, Dr. Petrov," Blackwood's voice came through crisp and clear. "Captain Patel reports all resistance cells are in position. Dr. Rivera's team has mapped the alien network's vulnerabilities. This is our moment." Victor took a deep breath, his fingers hovering over the activation sequence. What they were about to attempt went beyond mere resistance. They were about to turn human consciousness itself into a weapon, using the very chaos that the aliens feared as a tool of transformation. "Initiating primary sequence," he announced. "Quantum field generators engaging. Now." The effect was immediate and stunning. Across the globe, the crystalline ships shuddered, their perfect geometric forms distorting as waves of chaotic human thought crashed against their quantum barriers. But this was just the beginning. "Second phase engaging," Victor continued, watching as the reading spiked. "Consciousness synchronization holding steady. Beginning the upload." They had discovered something remarkable about the alien network. It wasn't just designed to harvest consciousness, but to reshape it. The aliens had built a tool of ultimate transformation, never imagining that humanity would seize control of it. "Sir," one of his technicians called out. "We're detecting unusual activity in the void cascade readings. It's changing direction." Victor rushed to the monitoring station, his eyes widening at the data. The mysterious force that had sent the aliens fleeing across galaxies was responding to their efforts. But instead of destruction, it was offering something else entirely. "Admiral," he called out, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. "The void cascade, it's not a wave of destruction. It's a quantum consciousness accelerator. The aliens ran from it because they couldn't adapt, but humans. We're adapting," Blackwood finished. "Captain Patel, status of the resistance cells?" "It's incredible, Admiral," Zara's voice crackled through. "The monks, the artists, everyone generating chaos patterns, their consciousness is evolving. They're beginning to perceive quantum space directly. The alien network isn't just failing to harvest them, it's being reprogrammed by human thought patterns." Victor watched in amazement as new data streams appeared on his displays. Human minds, linked through the hijacked alien network, were doing something unprecedented. They were reaching out into quantum space, touching the very fabric of reality itself. "My God," he whispered. "We're not just fighting back. We're transcending." The crystalline ships above Earth began to pulse with new colors, their perfect forms cracking as human consciousness invaded their network. But instead of destroying them, humanity was doing something far more profound. They were teaching them chaos, showing them the power of adaptation and change. "Final phase," Victor announced, his voice steady despite the enormity of what they were witnessing. "Initiating global consciousness sync, now." The aurora above the facility exploded into impossible colors as billions of human minds connected through the transformed network. But unlike the alien harvest, this connection celebrated individual chaos while creating collective harmony. It was a symphony of consciousness, each mind contributing its unique discord to create something greater than the sum of its parts. "Admiral," Victor reported, "the alien ships, they're responding. Their quantum signatures are changing. I think they're trying to communicate." For the first time since their arrival, the alien vessels emitted a signal that wasn't about harvest or control. It was something far simpler: wonder. They had come to Earth seeking resources for their fight against the void cascade, never imagining that humanity would show them a completely different way to face it. Through the quantum network, images began to flow, the true history of the crystalline beings, their flight from the approaching wave of transformation, their desperate plan to harvest lesser species to bolster their defenses. But now they were witnessing something they had never thought possible: a species that could not only survive consciousness evolution but actively direct it. "We're reaching a critical point," Victor warned, watching as power levels across the global network spiked. "The quantum field is becoming self-sustaining. Whatever we're about to become, there's no going back." Admiral Blackwood's voice carried both authority and awe. "Then we go forward, Doctor. Humanity has spent its entire history adapting, evolving, surviving. Now we show these beings why chaos isn't something to be feared, it's the source of our greatest strength." As the counter-protocol reached its crescendo, as human consciousness expanded into quantum space and began to reshape reality itself, Viktor Petrov smiled. The aliens had come to harvest humanity, but instead, humanity would help them evolve. The void cascade wasn't an end, it was a beginning. And humanity, in all its beautiful chaos, would lead the way into this new frontier of consciousness. Admiral Helena Blackwood stood on the observation deck of the USS Prometheus, but her consciousness extended far beyond its physical confines. Through the transformed quantum network, she could feel the thoughts of billions, human minds linked not in submission, but in transcendent harmony. The crystalline ships above Earth no longer seemed alien and threatening, they were now more like chrysalises, waiting for their own transformation. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Gar. Olivia Reyes materialized beside her, her form shifting between physical and quantum states. Like many who had been at the heart of the counter-protocol, she had begun to exist in multiple layers of reality simultaneously. "We've become something they never imagined possible." Through their enhanced perception, they could see the void cascade approaching, not as a wave of destruction, but as a field of pure potential. What the crystalline beings had fled from in terror, humanity was preparing to embrace. "All stations report ready," Commander Wei's voice echoed through both conventional and quantum channels. "The alien network has been fully integrated with our consciousness matrix. We're detecting unprecedented levels of quantum coherence." Blackwood nodded, feeling the truth of his words in the very fabric of her transformed consciousness. "Dar. Rivera, Captain Patel, status of your teams?" In the Himalayan bunker, Zara Patel and her volunteers had become living quantum processors, their enhanced minds serving as bridges between human and alien consciousness. "The monks have established stable contact with the crystalline being's collective memory," she reported. They're showing us everything, Admiral. Their entire history, their technology, their understanding of quantum space. They're giving us everything they know." From his facility in Geneva, Dr. Rivera's consciousness pulsed with excitement. "The integration is proceeding faster than we anticipated. The crystalline beings, they're not just accepting our changes, they're actively participating. They've seen what we can become, and they want to evolve with us." Through the quantum network, Blackwood could feel the truth of it. The aliens who had come to harvest humanity were instead being uplifted by them, their rigid crystalline consciousness learning to embrace chaos and change. Humanity's greatest weakness, its unpredictability, had become its ultimate strength. Viktor Petrov's voice resonated through quantum space from Siberia. "Admiral, the void cascade will reach our solar system in less than an hour. But our readings suggest something unprecedented. The chaos patterns we've introduced into the alien network, combined with our evolved consciousness, they're not just defending against the cascade. They're reshaping it." Blackwood extended her perception, feeling the approaching wave of quantum transformation. What had once seemed like an unstoppable force of cosmic destruction now felt more like a universal catalyst, a tool for consciousness evolution that the crystalline beings had been too rigid to utilize. "This was never about survival," Tenzin's serene voice echoed through the network. "It was about transcendence. The universe itself is evolving, and we have been chosen to guide this evolution." Through their shared consciousness, Blackwood could see the truth. The void cascade wasn't a natural phenomenon, it was a test, a filter to identify species capable of taking the next step in cosmic evolution. The crystalline beings had failed this test, choosing to flee and harvest rather than adapt. Humanity, with its embrace of chaos and change, had passed. All stations, Blackwood commanded, her consciousness resonating through the global network. Prepare for final transformation. Dr. Petrov, initialize the quantum field amplifiers. Captain Patel, synchronize the consciousness matrices. Dr. Rivera, begin the integration sequence. As humanity prepared to face the void cascade, the crystalline ships above Earth began to change. Their rigid geometric patterns dissolved into flowing, organic forms that pulsed with new life. They had learned from humanity the power of chaos, the strength found in adaptation and change. The void cascade arrived not with destruction, but with revelation. As it washed over Earth, human consciousness expanded exponentially, breaking through barriers of perception and understanding that had once seemed immutable. The crystalline beings, guided by humanity's example, underwent their own transformation, their consciousness evolving beyond their ancient limitations. In that moment of universal transformation, Admiral Helena Blackwood understood the true significance of what humanity had achieved. They had not just survived an alien harvest or defended against cosmic destruction, they had shown the universe itself a new path of evolution. The beings who had come to harvest humanity now stood beside them as equals, their transformed consciousness resonating in harmony with human thought. Together, they would explore this new frontier of existence, guiding other species through their own evolutionary journeys. As the transformed Earth pulsed with new life and possibility, as human and alien consciousness danced together through quantum space, Blackwood smiled. The aliens had come seeking to harvest human consciousness, never imagining that humanity would instead teach them how to transcend their own limitations. In the end, it wasn't humanity's technology or military might that had saved them. It was their chaos, their creativity, their unwavering ability to adapt and evolve. They had taken what seemed to be their greatest weakness and turned it into the key to universal transformation. The harvest had failed, but something far greater had been born, a new chapter in the evolution of consciousness itself, with humanity leading the way into an infinite frontier of possibility.